Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, hi, I'm Nicole and thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to be working on these foiled American flag tumblers, so let's get started. I started my first one with a handled 20-ounce tumbler from the Tumbler supply store, and I prepped it, spray painted it flat black, and once that was completely dry, I went in with the foil glue from Artistic Painting Studio and I covered it fully. I tried not to go too heavy, but enough that it was completely covered and there was no dry spots on this entire tumbler. And don't forget to get in there on the handle, on the sides, and on the very bottom of the tumbler as well. Once that was completely covered, I went in with this opal iridescent mica powder. I've had it for years. I don't even know where it came from, but I've had it forever. So it gave a little bit more of a yellowy tint than I really would have liked, but it was the only white one that was iridescent that I had, so we just went with it. It didn't turn out bad. I just wish it wasn't so yellowish. To apply that mica powder, I just took a clean, dry, soft, bristled brush that I just used this one that we all get from Dollar Tree, and I just stuck it in the mica powder just so that the tip got a little bit of powder because this stuff goes everywhere. It makes a really big mess. So I just dipped it in the powder and then brushed it onto the cup, and I just did that all over the entire cup, and you'll know that it's fully covered when there's no sticky glue residue left on the cup. Like I could touch it and it was not sticky at all. Don't forget to get really good on that handle, on the edges, and on the bottom portion of that handle, and on the very bottom of your tumbler as well. Once I had good coverage on the mica powder, I went in with foil glue again. I took a little bit stiffer brush because I wanted it more uniformed for this effect. I went in and made stripes all the way up the tumbler. So I started down here at the bottom, and then I skipped a little space, and then I made another stripe with the glue. I want it to look like the red and white stripes on a flag. I tried not to go too heavy-handed on these stripes, but I wanted enough that it was good coverage as well. So I just went all the way up, and then I hit it just a little bit with my heat gun to just kind of help speed up the drying process, and then I set it aside until they were completely dry. Once that glue was all dry, we're going in with our red foil from Artistic Painting Studio. I just cut a big square so that it was a little bit easier than trying to work with the whole roll when wrapping it around. And I kind of did this like when we apply a tumbler wrap where we make a little bit stick on there first and then wrap it. So I put just a little bit to where it was stuck on the tumbler, and then I pulled it tight and then set it down on my desk and rolled the tumbler. I was trying to avoid too many wrinkles because I tend to get a lot of wrinkles when I try to just do it any other way. So I wrapped that around. I trimmed it around the handle so that it would be easier to wrap around, and then once that was on there, I just took my hand and really pushed it into those glue lines. I just kind of rubbed with my finger. You're just trying to burnish it into that glue the best that you can to get the best coverage. Then I decided after I applied all that foil that I wanted it a little bit more covered, so I just went back over all those red stripes with the foil glue again, let it dry, and then applied another strip of foil to each line. This time I just cut strips so it was a little bit easier to apply that right over each stripe. I just really took my time on each stripe, really pushing that in and trying to get all the little white spots filled in as best as I could. And once I did all the stripes, I really loved the coverage that I got with this foil. One of the things that I love about working with foil is you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So I am a personal fan of the grungy, distressed look. So that's the way I prefer to use these foils, and it's my favorite. So after that was all done, we're gonna go in and make a drip on our tumbler, and this time I'm just using puffy paint because it's super easy and you don't have to mix it up and wait for the epoxy to cure. So I just took a navy blue, and all you're going to do is right up around the top rim, you're going to just squeeze that around. Some places squeeze a little bit harder and it'll help with that different levels of the drip. And once I went around the whole cup rim, I hit it on the table a little bit and it helps those little drips form. And then I took these clay stars that I got off of an Etsy shop. I can't remember the name. I'll leave the link in the description box, and added stars all over this blue drip to represent the blue portion of the American flag. I don't know about anybody else, but when I'm adding sprinkles or things to drips, I tend to start really light and then end up heavy-handed, so then I have to go back and add more shapes to where I started so it doesn't look completely uneven. And now we're going to go into our second tumbler. I just prepped this one and then I white glittered it, and it's smooth epoxy. So I took a very thin makeup brush, also from Dollar Tree, and I'm adding vertical stripes up from the bottom of the tumbler and just a portion of the way because most of it's going to be covered anyways with another color. So we're just adding stripes, and the way I was able to see where the stripes were is once I added this foil glue, it just made it a little bit of a matte. So I just added those stripes, hit it with my heat gun, let it dry, and then added this star foil, also from Artistic Painting Studio, and just went around and added the foil to all of those vertical stripes on this tumbler. Once those were all applied, I took it outside immediately and we did a version of a power wash on the very bottom. So I sprayed the power wash paint over the stripes and then just wanted it kind of like distressed right there, as you can see here at the top of the stripes. And then I took my spray paint and just lightly held down the button so it gave a little bit of just like splatter right there on that line where the blue and the stripes meet as well, just to kind of help blend it from the harsh dark blue into the red and white stripes. And then I took this beautiful glitter that I got from Hobby Lobby. It's just their new glitter line of vinyl, and it's the white, and I cut out stars and applied those right over the spray paint. It is a little bit of a rough surface, so if you wanted to epoxy it first, you can, but sometimes I like to just go for it and do it all before I epoxy. So I just added all these stars, and then I decided I ended up wanting something else on this tumbler. I felt like it needed something, so I removed a few of the stars, and then I just cut out this decal with regular vinyl, and I did an offset in white, and then I added the very thin lined red right over it, and it just says United States of America. It was at first giving me a little bit of a hex sticking down, but I just pushed and then pulled off that backing tape, and it ended up coming off just fine, and there was no issues with it at all. But I just took off that transfer tape and then applied that red right over it, and then this one was ready for epoxy. No, I take that back. I went in and added a few more stars around the United States of America decal as well, just to kind of give it a more cohesive look. So once I was done with that, then this one was ready for epoxy, and I just added a little bit of Diamonds and Dust luster dust in the color Pure to my epoxy to give it a little bit more of a shimmer look to this one, to kind of match the base white glitter for those stripes. And then we are going to go in with this decal for the first tumbler, and yes, I am hand cutting this because for some reason I can never get my print and cut to work on my silhouette. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. Please tell me in the comments, because I've tried for years. I haven't tried in a while because it just literally never works for me. So I just printed this decal on printable vinyl that I get from Hobby Lobby. I love this printable vinyl. It works amazing for me. So I just cut that out. I left a very slight little white border, cut it out, and then for some reason I lost the coverage or the footage where I was applying it to the tumbler, but I applied that and then added 2 coats of epoxy, and these babies were all done. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that if I have inspired you in some way, you will give me a like, a share, a follow. I will leave all of the links in the description box where you can find me. Join my group because I'm changing my group a little bit now, so come join my Crafting Besties group and share your work. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will definitely get back to you. And I hope that you guys all have a wonderful 4th of July, and I will be seeing you next week. Bye, y'all.